What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test hand combo video for the White Forest toy box that I showed you all the other day. So, very simply, with all of that out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to do a very standard test hands. We'll probably do 2 going first and 2 going second, depending on time. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, relatively interesting opening right here. Now, unfortunately, it does mean that we're going to need to use the normal summon on the Yugioh, which is a bit disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. Like, you are going to get hands like this, so you kind of need to make sure you get the most out of it as you do. So we'll start off with the Yugioh. We're going to normal summon this because we can't extend with it. Big sad. And then what we're going to be able to do here is we're going to use Yugioh's effect. We can send the tails, and the reason we're going to do that is we'll get the random draw, but then we'll also be able to reset the tails. Now, of course, you could send the toy soldier, but you might as well get this reset going anyway. We'll activate tails because we now control a spellcaster. This will then allow us to add one. Now, obviously, you want to be adding one that is an extender, so you're going to want to be going for your LZ. You'll then be able to use LZ's effect once you have set the toy soldier into the spell and trap zone. Use LZ's effect to send the toy soldier. Resolve the LZ, which will allow you to add a White Forest monster. So we're going to go for a Stella. Toy Soldier's effect will trigger, summon itself back. And because you don't control toy box right now, you're going to be able to get the toy box. So you're going to add the toy box. We're going to activate the toy box, use this effect to put us... Now this is quite important because this is how you're going to be able to loop back around, because the tank is going to put in that work to get you that Stella from the hand onto the field, which is really important. So we're going to put both of those into the spell and trap zones right now, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to synchro into a 6, and the synchro into the 6 you're going to want to go for is your Yugioh. Yugioh's effect will now trigger to let you send a spell or trap, so we're going to send specifically tank, and this will then allow you to add a light spellcaster, so we're going to add the Iris Sword Soul. You'll now be able to trigger tank's effect, which will summon itself back, and now because we control toy box, we can summon from the hand, or we can summon from the graveyard. So now what you use is Toy Tank's effect to tribute it off. This will then allow you to summon down the Estella from the hand. So this is how you can kind of get back around even though you've already used your normal summon. You can now use the Estella's effect. This will then allow you to send the toy box from the field to the graveyard and allow you to special summon a tuner from the deck. So that's how you're going to get your Sylvie into rotation. Sylvie's effect will now trigger. We've already used Tails, so you might as well search yourself out a Woes, which will set up ready to go there as well. So now you've got a couple of different options. You can synchro for an 8 or you can synchro for a 6. We're going to synchro for an 8, so we're going to use these two right here. This will then let us get into the Diabell Queen. Diabell Queen's effect will trigger, allowing us to add back a spell from the graveyard, so you can add back your Tails for a follow-up, or of course you can add back your toy box to put you more spells and traps into the zone should you need to. So we'll go with that one there. Now, you also have a synchro in the graveyard, so what you can do is you can use the Yugioh's effect here to bring itself back and put the Yugioh back into the extra deck. Now, it's really important now that we've got 2 tuners on the board, because we're now going to be able to add a synchro level 8 and a synchro level 10 to the board, because we do have Druid Swarm as well, which is really important. So now we've got a monster that's effects are negated on the board. You're going to be able to summon down the Iris Sword Soul. You're then going to want to synchro a level 4 with the Toy Soldier together to get you into Omega. Now, of course, you can go for a Draco Berserker if you want to. It really is up to you, but we're going to loop our opponent's hand for 2. You can go for a Visas Aritara, but that's where, of course, reframing, we've already hard opened it, so we're in a position of, like, we're completely fine with what we've got there. You're now going to use Druid Swarm's effect. You can banish any light from the graveyard. If you want to be looping any of these back, like in Estella, then you can do, but honestly, we're not going to need to loop any of these back. So I'd probably banish the Toy Soldier because we can get another one later on anyway. Then what you do is you're going to synchro these two together to make a synchro 10. This will allow you to go into your Druid Swarm. Now, it's entirely up to you. If you want to bring back the Toy Soldier, you can. You're not really going to get anywhere apart from getting a Link 2 on the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Omega's effect to rip one from our opponent's hand. We'll then use Dispatter's effect to bring back the Omega. And then we'll use Omega's effect again to rip another one from our opponent's hand. Now, so you could wait if you wanted to put the Toy Soldier back into the graveyard, but honestly, you want one banished for your Dispatter, so you've got that option. And you're going to have another one banished from your opponent's hand as well. So you've got 2 IEs of being able to negate or destroy. So you've got the best of both. Then what you're going to be able to do here, of course, keep in mind that if you wanted to, you could spin this back to get another level 4 tuner to the board, but I honestly don't think you need to. You've got the ability to loop back the LZ, you've got the ability to loop back the Estella later on during your opponent's turn, and you've got the quick effects to loop back both of these as well. So you could overlay both of these if you wanted to for the rank 8. Honestly, I'm just going to be going for Woes reframe. I could activate the toy box to put down tank and another soldier, but you want both of these on the board instead of the toy box. So with hindsight, you probably want to add back your tails instead of the toy box. And then you've still got your spell and trap that you can send and then kind of go from there. But the idea is just ending this board here. Your opponent now has 3 cards in hand. They're going to draw for a 4th. If they special from the extra deck, you can destroy it. You've got the ability to negate off of the back of this spatter. You've also got the ability of your Diabell Queen to send the toy soldier to the graveyard, which will then basically allow you to loop back around, because then this can loop back. Your Estella can loop back as well. This will then search you out a follow-up. So I'm just showing you how you can play through your opponent's turn. So this one will actually go for a level 4. Sorry, we'll have to go for a toy box because we don't control toy box. So we'll go for toy box. So you've got your follow-up of that one for the next turn. And then, of course, your Diabell Queen will resolve, and you just put it into the extra monster zone, so you've got plenty of space, which will let you get your Zapper. You can then discard any of these cards in the hand to pop that particular card. You haven't even used Woes yet either. You can now use Zapper's effect. Zapper's effect can now allow you to sink into a 6. It can allow you to sink into a 10. It really is up to you. If you wanted to play Herald of the Arclight, you can even sink into a 4. So really up to you. We could probably go into a Chaos Angel if you wanted to, because you just need a light or dark monster. So we could use these two here. Assuming that we've already used this Iris Sword Soul. Gets you into Chaos Angel. This is only used making lights, so your synchro monsters are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. And then you still have the ability of Woes later on as well. If you were to clear off more space from the board, you'd have the ability of Woes. So if you wanted to go into an 8, you could also clear off some space and use these. So let's say we did it that way instead. So let's keep Chaos Soldier. Let's keep this there. And we'd go with this one. So that's how your board would currently look. Let's say we discarded Toy Box. Let's say we've drolled them as well. Like, this is just savage. We negate with a refrain. Like, there's no way they play through this board unless they've opened up the absolute nuts. And even then, that's still very tricky. And then you still have the ability of the White Woes. So this one allows you to special summon a monster from the hand or deck, and then immediately after the effect resolves, synchro summon. So keeping in mind what you bring back has to be a tuner. But it's a you can, so you don't actually have to go too crazy on it, really. I suppose even if we synchro put this into the extra monster zone, then what you would need to do is you would go... let's have a look. Like, we've already used this, so let's put this back into the extra deck. Let's summon back a Sylvie. Sylvie's effects are obviously negated, but then because a Light Tuner spellcaster is special to your field while it's in the graveyard, you can bring back the Elzette. So you've got the Synchro 6 right there if you need to. So you'll get the ability to activate Woes, special White Forest monster from the hand or deck. So we'll special out Estella. But you can synchro into a 6, and the reason it's important to show you can synchro into a 6 is you can go into your Sylvia, which will then Book of Eclipse your opponent's entire board. So you've Book of Eclipse them, you've negated them with this spatter, you've counter-trapped them with them refraining, you've popped from the extra deck with Iris Sword Soul, you've ripped hand for 2 with the Omega, you haven't even used Draco Berserker yet, so like you've just got so much resource, it's absolutely mental. And that was from a weird hand, that was from a normal summon, a normal summon of a Rusia, so really kind of cool. That was, what, 8 minutes? So let's do I can do a test and go in a second. It's not much of an issue. Let's do a test and go in a second, and if we've got time as well, I'll go back and do another test and go in first, because it just kind of shows you, like, you've got weird test stands, but then you have, like, crazy consistent test stands as well. So it's just what you can play through, what you can do. So we'll shuffle up, we will cut up, and this time we'll go second, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, the 6th card saves us because we would have hand-trapped our opponent to literal near-death. You'd still get the search for the back of the Sylvie. Like, the Sylvie still gets the work done for you. So you still normal summon the Sylvie, add you a spell or trap, so you're going to add a... wherever it may be, add a Tails. We'll activate the Tails because we control Sylvie. And the one you're going to want to go for will be your Elzette. You can activate the Toy Box. Toy Box will put, of course, Soldier and Tank into the spell and trap zone. So Tank and Soldier. Then we use Elzette, summon itself down, send in the Tank. Resolve the Elzette, searching out your Rusia. Add the Rusia. Tank's effect will summon itself back. Now we can go put these two together. Synchro into... double check, actually, no, we're going to need to summon down the Rusia first, to then synchro these two first. and then go into, I mean, of course I can go into the White Forest monster, but I'm choosing not to do that because I'm going for protection. So we're going to work our way into the Immortal Dragon, use these, go into your Gen X. So Gen X now has the ability to negate a wind, a fire, a light, and a dark, because you've got the Ash and the Droll as well. And now what you can do is you can now use the Rusia's effect. You send the Toy Soldier to draw a random card. And then you can use Toy Soldier's effect to summon. Because we control Toy Box, you can search out whatever you want, really. I'm going to search out another Toy Box. And now you've got the ability to basically just jump into a Synchro 8. We've got Estella. No Estella, but we still have Sylvie. So you can Synchro straight into a level 8. I'm trying to think the most effective one for you on this one. Or for us on this one. Could we have gone better than an 8? So we add a Toy Box over the back of this. Maybe we should have synced off the Soldier and left the tank on the board. Maybe. Because at least with the tank we could get another one down from the board. But I don't think it makes much of a difference, really. LZ is only during an opponent's turn. Sylvie and Rusia are only going to be able to do so much. I suppose you just go for a defensive. Like, you've hand-tracked your opponent to death. Maybe you can't complete the OTK this one, but you pretty much set yourself up so that they can't do anything. So you go Visas Aritara. Aritara's effect will get you access to the Vanadium counter trap. So you can have that set. I think that's pretty much it, though. Like, we've hand-tracked our opponent to death. So what have we got this one? During your main phase, you can destroy one monster you control. All synchros you control gain 800. I don't think there's anything that I can destroy. So, I mean, either way, we just basically attack with the Gen X, attack with the Visas. You've got 4 negates off the back of this. Fire, wind, light, and dark. You're going to draw your opponent again the next turn. So they're not going to be able to play that. And then you've got the refrain as well. So they would have had to have played through 3 hand traps on the first one. Then during the next turn, they have to play through 4 interruptions there, depending on what types they're playing. 1 off of the back of the counter trap there, which because you control Visas Aritara will be a negate and a destroy, plus a draw. So you won't be able to complete the OTK. Maybe there was a way, like, rather, if I didn't go for the Gen X, I probably could have gone down the route of White Forest monsters a little bit more. But I think that's still a decent end board. Especially when you're like, you take into account the hand traps that you burn. That was all from like technically like a 2-card combo. And again, it was a weird hand because it was like Sylvie plus 2. So it's like, what I like about this is it shows you what you can do with weird hands. Like, you're not always going to get the perfect hand, and that's sometimes the downfall of most decks is they always show you, here's the combo with the perfect hand, but then the question is, what happens if you don't have the perfect hand? What adaptation can you make? Where can you go? What else can you try out? And that's kind of cool on that one. Okay, we've got time, we can do some more. So we'll do another test down going first, so we'll bounce back and forth between first and second, I guess. The first is obviously going to take a little bit longer because you've got more to build up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, these cards love my hand. Okay, so we'll start off with the Sylvie. Sylvie's effect is going to search us out. So this is why Sylvie's like kind of a cool starter as well. If you don't get your Estella, this will get us Tails. We'll activate the Tails. You're going to have to go for your extender in the form of the LZ. We will then set the Toy Soldier. We'll summon down the LZ, send in the Toy Soldier. LZ's effect resolves, searching you out your Rusia. Wherever it may be. There we go, search out the Rusia. Trigger off Toy Soldier. Toy Soldier summons itself back, and we don't control Toy Box, so we will search Toy Box. Activate Toy Box, put in your tank, and put in your Soldier. There we go, so we've got what we need there. Can I protect? Do I need to protect? Possibly. I don't think I can protect from the Nibiru because when you start off with Sylvie, you have to special summon down your Rusia, but that puts you into your 5th summon on the next one. So like when you make this, you're on your 5th summon. So it's like Nibiru me here. Otherwise, I'm going to be able to continue playing. But other than that, we'll put these two together. We'll go into the Gen X. So now we'll protect with lights and dark effects. We can now use the Rusia's effect. We will send Tank. This is the only one we haven't summoned yet. We'll draw a random card. Droplet, not bad. Tank's effect will come back. Tank's effect gives us the ability to summon one back from the graveyard, which might be worth it actually. So we'll use Tank's effect, we'll tribute it off to bring back the LZ, and the reason we want to do that is rather than go for a Synchro 8, that's not going to get us much further, we can actually go for a Synchro 6. which will get us into our Reselia. Reselia's effect will send Toy Box. I mean, it can send Soldier if you want to, but the Soldier won't summon. We will search out our Iris Sword Soul. There we go. Now again, this is the issue with not having a Stella in rotation, is you can't get a Stella back. And then the question is, do you choose to activate your Rusia or your Sylvie in the graveyard to put the Reselia back? Just so you've got a monster negated on the board to add this Iris Sword Soul. So like, you're not really adding a huge amount to it. So what you'd ultimately be doing is you would have to go Sylvie or Rusia, put the Reselia back, summon down Iris Sword Soul. This could sink into a 12, so this is where like the Centurion route puts in a bit more work. This would go into a 12, but then you still go, okay, cool, well, set Droplet, set Imperm, set Refrain. And as long as I control a Synchro monster, I can still get that negate off. And then what it means is during your opponent's turn, what you're basically doing is, if they summon from the extra deck, you're popping it, you're negating, you've got Droplets which can send, you've got the negate here, you've got the negate there, for them to deal with. Not as effective as our first test hand, but still pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let's do another one going second, just so you can kind of see that. We'll wrap up the video that way, so it's kind of nice and you get 2 of each. So we'll shuffle this up, we will go second. Like I do like the outgoing is kind of cool because it is very direct, but I can kind of see why people want to play Crimson Dragon. I can kind of see why. That's what I like about the deck, is there's just different routes for it. Like, not one build is always 100% the same. There's always that odd bit of tech card in there that people are playing, or something that's a little bit different to work around with. Anyway, we'll now go second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whoa, 5, 6. Okay, so not as many hand traps as we did on our last go second hand, but we do have like our full combo. So let's see if we can OTK. We'll activate Toy Box. Toy Box will put Soldier and Tank from deck. Never reveal your hand resource if you can avoid it. Like, if we'd open up Tank, we wouldn't have much of an option, but yeah, try to avoid it where at all possible. Now, you've got 2 options here. You can either hold back your normal summon, or you can just bait your opponent into your normal summon. Holding back your normal summon could be pretty damaging because they're always going to want to try and stop the LZ. So, as LZ effect in hand, we will send... Let's send Soldier, because at least Soldier will guarantee that we'll get the search regardless. So we attempt to use LZ, and if they negate the ELZ, Soldier will come back, and then Soldier can search you out what you wanted to search off the LZ anyway. So you're getting the best of both. So you're always going to want to end up with this. You've got 2 ways of getting to this through that one bit of play there, which is quite interesting. Still maintain our normal summon. So let's say that one of these got negated, right? We'll then special summon down the Reselia. Reselia's effect will send Tank. We will draw 1 random card. And Tank will summon. So we'll draw 1 random card, Tank will summon. D-Barrow. It just wants to give me my 1-offs, sure. Can we sync into a 10? Yeah, we'll sync into the 10. So we'll sync those 2 together. We'll go into Dragon, and then we'll use Soldier as it's done everything it needs to do to get us into the Gen X. So now we've got Light and Dark negation, which is quite important. Tank can still tribute. We still haven't used our normal summon. So let's normal summon down Estella. Let's use Estella's effect to send Woes, because Woes will reset. Estella's effect will resolve, giving us access to Sylvie. Sylvie's effect will resolve, giving us access to Tails. So now we've got access to the 6s should we want to as well. So if we then go into the 6 and go into the Reselia, of course you can go for the Sylvia instead and book a moon your opponent's entire board, but we can probably get to that a little bit later on anyway. Use Reselia's effect to send the Tails. This will then allow you to add the Iris Sword Soul, which is just going to give you an aggressor on the board as well. And then you can also bring back, that's Estella. You can also bring back the Estella from the graveyard because the spell trap was sent. So you'll be able to reset Tails. Estella will then summon itself back as well. So now you've got the ability to sync 8. So you can go aggressive, you can go defensive, it really is up to you on the 8. Like if you want to go aggressive, you probably go for the Draco Berserker. But we'll go into the Queen, just so we've got the follow-up. Queen's effect. Ooh, no spells and traps in the graveyard. Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. We still get the exact same outcome that we wanted to. Because what we'll do is we'll use Reese's effect, put back the Reselia. Goes back into the extra deck. Still got tank on the board, haven't used that yet. We've got monster negated effect on the board, so we'll summon down the Irish Sword Soul. We can then sync these two together for the 8, which gets you into Draco Berserker. So there's your other aggressor. Haven't used Tails, like we could use Tails, but I don't think it's going to get us anywhere. Now, I mean, this is pretty funny because what we can do now is we can go battle phase, attack, 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 attack. And if we haven't got damage done, you then use Sylvie to spin back the Diabell, and then Sylvie goes in, right? So you target a White Forest Synchro monster you control, engrave, return it to the extra deck, and if you do special on this card, but negate its effects, which is fine, because then if you need that extra 1500, Sylvie just attacks the game. And then even if you don't, like, we're sitting on a Refrain, we're sitting on a D-Barrier, we're sitting on a Woes and a Tails. Like, the crackback on that one is going to be absolutely insane. So that's it for the entire video. Hope this has given you a bit more of an introduction into the deck. Like I did following up from the profile, you kind of saw the basic combo route. Hopefully with this you kind of see what it can do unanswered. And then I suppose the next stage would be to show you this deck against like the meta or like in duels and stuff. If you want to see that, then make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, and I'll try and record duels from locals with this next week or in the upcoming weeks as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Do like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.